Follow your heart rather than your mind. Follow the energy rather than what you think. You see, we know, if you look at that image of Tao, what we call yin and yang, the mind will exist on one side and spirit on the other. That doesn't mean they exist in equal proportions. But you have to remember that this is just a symbol. Okay, it's like a word. That picture is like a word. It can only say what pictures say. Okay? Feeling is ultimately what is important. It's important to understand the difference between thinking and feeling. And I see in talking to people, we often get the two confused. Instead of feeling and letting that be and letting that tell you what it is, it doesn't speak in sentences and say, well, I should move to Detroit. No, that's not the way that works. So you have to find out what it means first. You have to find out what that feeling is telling you. How does the energy run? What does it say? What does that mean? How does it feel to you? First off, get it clear. Because I still hear it over and over again. Well, I feel that blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying, no, that's what you think. That's not what you feel. So it's important to go back, feel. Be honest with feeling. Feel. Just feel it. Let the energy move. Let it move from one spot to the other. That is the only way you're going to really understand it. You have been told since you were little what those feelings are. You have assumed since you were little what those feelings are. Okay, let's look at two things. Let's look at it in terms of vibrational frequency. Spirit is a very fine vibration. Fine vibrations appear, let us say, in this way. Let us start from where we are here. This is a gross vibration. It's not fine. Okay? It's a gross, long wave vibrational frequency. Form, earth, metal, body. So its frequency speaks to certain things. You move up the ladder to the finer vibration, would be, the next one up would be water. You see how it flows and how it doesn't hold a particular shape? It's a finer vibration. It's a shorter wave. The next one up would be air, which is yet a finer vibration. I mean, you can feel it, but you can't feel it in the same consistency that you feel water or earth. The next one up would be space. And I don't mean space out there. I mean space right here that everything is fitted into. Okay? It is a yet finer vibration, faster movement. The next one up would be energy, finer yet. The next one up would be consciousness, finer yet. It is the base of all physical things. If you look at it from that perspective, finer, it cools down, less fine, cools down, less fine, cools down, less fine. It is the same thing, but its message is different at different points. All you need to do is look at the message. Okay? So what you are ultimately trying to do is to balance the finer one with the less fine, or the more gross. You can't make it happen. You can only allow it to happen. Allow it to happen. We have this idea we're like bulls in the china shop. Just bam, 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 bam. Well, all you're going to get is broken china. All you're going to get is broken relationships. All you're going to get is a broken or severed relationship between you and the earth. You can say, well, I understand. But bam, 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 yeah, and I'm going to make you understand. Well, it's not going to work because that's not the way it works. In consciousness, we have to understand for ourselves. That's why the technique simply points you. It's up to you to recognize what you see. Okay? To recognize what is right in front of you. To lay aside what you think you know and just see or recognize what is there. What is really there. What does it really say? In your heart center is the point of transition between the ultra mass, these things, and spirit. From this point up, they begin to get finer and finer and finer and finer. From this point down, they become more and more gross, 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 gross. You have people who think that they think the world of being sexual. Their identity is in being sexual. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, yes and no. Because that is from here down, that is the lowest center on the chart, on the thing, on your spine. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means if you are controlled by that, you don't understand. There has to be balance. Okay? So in order to let that energy flow in the intensity that will bring you to this point, you have to let go of what you think you know. That means the gestalts within your body, so that you can feel that energy. And as it rises into these centers, you begin to know things in a different way. You begin to apply things in a different way. We live in a world of consumerism. And we don't realize how much that affects our lack of spirituality. We think that when we are driven toward this thing of money and form, we think it's okay. Well, it's okay in a way. If you come to here, it's okay. But when it comes and you are unaware and dealing with people around you unfairly and think it's fair because you're dealing with the laws of money, of form, because that's what everybody else does, you think that that's okay. Well, it's not. I don't mean it in terms of a bad thing. I just mean it in terms of it doesn't let you see, and it doesn't let you rule justly, if that makes sense. We can't see that until we come past this point. We come past this point and we go, oh, there's another way to deal with this. The idea, it's like we'll say, the idea of democracy It's a lower vibration of the right idea. Democracy, not consumerism. Democracy, where the whole rules. Okay, the whole. The whole. It's going to rule anyway. The problem is, at that level where it rules, what we do from this point causes conflict, and that causes war, death, famine, all those kinds of things. So we haven't gotten there yet. So to where we understand that, we just keep doing it and pointing the finger at the Republicans. You know, they are certainly a part of the problem just as much as anyone else. So, to get to the whole of things, to get to the whole of them, we must experience the energy that happens in our body and let it run its course. That takes us all the way. Man exists in 7 octaves. Humankind. 7 octaves of vibration. Okay. You can tell, well, you can only tell from the top looking down. You can't tell from the bottom looking up. Where the energy is in a person by simply looking at them and listening to them. You know, when you look at them and listen to them, when you're looking from here, you see them. But when you're looking from here, you think everybody is limited, let's say. Or you think everybody's God. They are, but they're not actualized as it. You know, I hear it all the time. Well, we're with this group of people, and these people they say the same thing you do. And I say, well, yeah, but look at them. Yeah, they're saying it. They're talking the talk, but are they walking the walk? I once went to a group, and I was invited, come listen to this guy. So I go, and there are these people walking around, and a woman offers her hand to a guy, and he, I don't shake hands with women. Why not? Because their energy is different. Okay, well, you see, I'm looking and I know where you are. I know you got problems, okay? And thank God for this group, because that axe you got in the closet at home, you know, because you're sick. There's something wrong with you, okay? How can you, if you are spiritual and truly understand the whole, the godliness, the equality of all creation, how can you not want to shake hands with her? Or one group I heard say, women must wear and must be covered in, you know, the thing, all that. Because if she's not, she makes me want to rape her. What? The problem is not the woman. The problem is yours. The problem is yours. Okay. So, in all this religious stuff and all the words that we hear from people, we have to look at their actions. And you can only know whether their actions are off if your actions are on. Yes, Kevin?
You talked about the energy rising in the centers. Mm-hmm. You gave the circle technique. It goes down in the front. How is it with the other movement? It goes up in the front.
It doesn't really, it's felt in the front. It goes up the back. But it comes up the back, and the chakra is not just sitting on the spine, but attached to the spine. It's more a middle body experience, and it's felt in this way. Okay. And actually, what you're doing is just opening the channel, because actually you've got two flows. Okay. You got a flow from here, which is a finer vibration that comes this way, and a flow from here, which is a lower vibration that goes this way. So what you have is this motion. If you notice, as you do this, you start to get warmer. Okay. What it's creating is a kind of friction, a new energy, or more energy. So you have a unlimited source of energy. But the thing is, we've got to practice in order to know. And see, here's something that you all should know. I'll give you a technique. I'll give you maybe half of it. And then after you've done it, you come back to me with questions about it, I'll give you the rest of it. But if you never come back to me and talk to me about it, I won't give you anything, because it tells me you're not doing it. That's what it tells me. Okay. So, again, this whole thing of energy is simple but yet complex. But if you just feel, it will straighten itself out, because that's its natural flow. If you don't dam a river, it will flow through its riverbed if you don't dam it. And what we've done through our tension and stuff is dam it. So you want it to naturally, it will naturally flow. You don't really have to know, okay? All you have to do is open the floodgate and let it run. Now, once that happens, a whole new kind of thought happens. A whole new way of living happens. You're more about how do we live together as opposed to how we live apart. You don't have to be a person who is always with someone else or in someone else's face. I mean, you can live together, come together where working or something is beneficial, and then go about your life in other ways, because people are interested in different things. But we learn how to work together for the uplifting of the whole. Here's the thing, that we think that our actions are separate from the whole. They're not. All of your actions, all of your thought, all of your energy is in this giant collection we call the consciousness of man. We think, well, I'm not causing a war. Well, are you at war inside? Are you thinking those thoughts? Yeah, you are responsible, because you are part of that whole. Every little bit. If you go over to the lake, if you can stand there long enough and take it out a drop at a time, pretty soon it'll go dry, because each drop constitutes the lake. Each drop. And we'll look and say, well, I'm for peace, 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 brother. Yeah, well, you're talking the talk. Let's see you walk the walk. But that is in understanding and letting your energy go. This is why if you are in situations or in places where people argue, fight, whatever all that is, and your energy comes up and you are blocked, that's what you're going to do. If that energy comes up and you're like that, that's what you're going to do. What you have to understand, it's all right, you can be there, but when that energy comes up, you have to go to that energy, you have to relax and let it flow. What has to be the main focus of your life is your life. The main focus of your life is you. The main focus of your life is to understand you. Not to let the energy go by getting in a brawl every Saturday night, or that kind of thing. The main focus of your life is you. And doing the techniques. When you get together, you should be discussing those things. We should be talking about the way out, not the way that limits us. I am inconsequential. I'm just a poor little country boy just passing through. That's all. That's all. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. What's going to make the difference? Okay? What's going to make the difference? It was like when I was a kid in the South, the preacher rode through once a month in his blue and yellow Cadillac. He was cool. He had some bad suits, too. So when he come through, every woman in town, they would fight over inviting the preacher to dinner. The issue was not the preacher. The issue is what's being said here. Stop. It's not about the instrument, but it's about what the instrument brings. And we have to focus on that. We have to focus on that. So we focus on our feelings and not... You must understand that your feelings are inside of you. Do you know how many relationships break up because ultimately we start looking at each other, we get together and we have these feelings, and then ultimately we start arguing and fighting, and that feeling is no longer there because you've changed, because you this, because you that, and they're doing this. Well, it never was about the other person anyway. It was about the energy inside of you, about the energy inside of each individual, that energy inside of them. So what they did was shut it off, because they're arguing or they're finding out that this person has flaws. And those flaws generally speak to the person who's having the problem with it. They're uncomfortable with it because it's them. Okay? I'm uncomfortable with the way you are. Well, but I'm saying it's you. Well, no, it's you. It's you. It's you. It's always me. Right? So the feeling inside is me. So the feeling what I have to do is understand how this feeling moves through my body, how it affects me. The feeling is a sensing of energy flow. It is a sensing of energy flow or non-flow. When you get upset, when you get angry, when you get into the lower senses, is because what you're sensing is the lack of energy flow. That is what doesn't feel good. That is what doesn't feel good. Okay? When the energy flows, no matter what is going on, it's okay. On the health channel, a little boy, they bring him into the emergency room, and he's got a gash about this long and about this deep in his leg, and he's laughing. Well, they start saying, well, okay, we got to clean this out. So they take this big syringe and they squirt all, and the kid is cracking up. He's just laughing. They're going, something wrong here. Okay, so, all right, They clean it out and everything. And the kid's laughing. But what was happening with the kid is that he wasn't blocking his energy. He was just letting it flow, so the energy felt good, and he was laughing. However, when they came back and they had to cut that dead part off and put some stitches in there, he stopped laughing. He was like, oh, wait a minute. So he had another recognition. But this is what I'm saying to you, is that it can be serious. If you allow the energy to flow, you're going to feel better. That doesn't mean you don't deal with it. That doesn't mean you start laughing maniacally like the Joker. It means you feel it, you understand, and you let it flow, you feel pretty good. But you deal with the situation. It's as simple as that. I mean, you look at your choice. If you start to get down, whatever it is going to be worse. If you relax and let it flow, it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. Faith that something is going to work out is not, I have faith it's going to work out. And it's not, the other extreme is not going to work out. It's allowing the energy to flow and having a surety about life. And you go on about life, and you go on about life the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and it works out. Look at me. It works out, and people, well, what's the secret? I'm telling you what the secret is. The energy heals itself. But do not expect to live forever. Don't do that, because that's not a part of the law. Okay? But make sure that you understand now. If you give up what you have now for what you're going to get in the future, you will never enjoy life. And it's true. When you let that energy flow, you feel good now. What you are creating in this moment now is your future. It is your future. What you are creating now. If you're creating chaos and confusion now, in the name of being right or whatever, in your future there's chaos and confusion. There are problems. You create problems. It's really that simple. But you learn to get out of that. You learn because the higher vibrational frequency from your feelings expresses that. But you got to get there. The point is, you've been taught that you can't take the feelings. That's the point. I can't take any more of this. Well, yeah, you can. You can take that, and you can take more, if you take it. But what happens is, we call taking it resisting it, denying it. I'm denying what I really feel. That's not the way that happens. That's not the way you get out. Denying what I feel. Well, I don't feel that way. You know, I'm cool. I'm junior guru in charge. Well, that ain't gonna happen. Okay, you understand that you can be there only when you do the thing that is right to do. The thing that is right. And the thing that is right is to feel. No matter how intense, no matter what, you feel it. You have to relax, and you have to accept it. So again, I keep coming back to those little cornerstones of that technique. Say, relax and feel it. Relax and feel it. Deal with the issues in that energy that's flowing, that's feeling good. If you do that, you'll get along with people better. You'll solve problems better. You will aid in the collective whole better once you understand. But you can't deny a part of things. If you start denying something in yourself, I deny you, I deny you, I deny you, I deny you. In whatever it is we have to participate in. If it is a marriage or a family or whatever it is, you deny parts of it here, you deny them. And when you do that, there's a problem. The whole point is, there's a way of thinking from here down and a way of thinking from here up. This is a more complete way of thinking. When you come from here, it encompasses everything. So in your dealings, you're going to deal with everyone in the right way. All I'm saying is that there's a way of thinking from here, and there's a way of thinking from here. The finer vibrational frequency. The finer vibrational frequency is going to come up with a different answer. With a different answer. We must be responsible to ourselves, and if we're responsible to ourselves, we're responsible to the whole. We're responsible to the whole of whatever system we operate within. If it is the government, we're responsible to ourselves. Therefore, what we do will be a responsibility to the people. If we are in the legal system, responsible to ourselves, we're responsible to everybody. If it is business, I'm responsible to myself. I'm responsible to not only all my stockholders, but I'm responsible to the people at large. After that, if we all do that, we're all responsible, the whole thing rises. But you get one chink in the wheel where it becomes about me and becomes about power for me. There was a guy, he's worth $11 billion. And the mother of his child wants $49,000 a month in child support, which I don't understand. You know, he's got an expensive little critter there. $45,000 a month. What's he doing? Buying crack? He's only 4 years old. I understand. But if you got $11 billion, what the hell? So I'm talking about the mentality. Me. $45,000 against 11 billion? Come on. Yeah. You see, we don't think from here, because the energy has not risen to here. What our beliefs and those things keeps the energy down. Well, we want life to be easier. Well, let's make it easier by allowing our feelings to be. Thinking about the whole comes from the energy being at a place that concerns itself with the whole, not with this part down. Now, we want that energy to rise so that we think as a whole. We see ourselves not as separate from the whole, but as the whole. I don't no longer then see myself as different from you. I see myself as you, or you as me. I don't see it in that way that makes you different or you different. I see it in the way of the basis of all things, and that is that which created us all. The same. If we try to do that beforehand, we create a tension, a division within ourselves. That's why I say to you, you must be aware of those divisions. You must be aware of that stress. Relax. Let it go. Let the energy move. That brings it back together. It just simply tells you where your points of stress are. Do you want to change it? If you want to change it, then this is what you will do. You'll let it do what it does. You'll let it come back to the singularity instead of being a division. Instead of mind going one way, feelings going one way, and you're just frustrated. No. Come back together and flows. You ever think about, everybody now in America is doing this from the Indian. You ever think about what that means? The haves becoming whole. But what do we do? Oh, it makes me look real spiritual. Haves becoming whole. Okay. That's what it means, or what it has meant. Even in India, some of them don't even know what it means anymore. Because like any religion, the people who grow up in it don't understand it. Because they've been told it and not taught it. So, those moments of stress are when you have division. You don't know what to do. You go to this. This tells you one thing, when this is telling you something else. We'll go with this. That's what is happening in the world, in our country. We go with this. We see kids hungry and starving and dying and needing food and water and assistance. We operate from here, not from here. Not to help them, not to truly help them. Some stopgaps, here's some money, we throw some money at it, and we go, well, I helped. No, you didn't. You just threw some money at it. This should win, because this is the voice of God. This is the voice of God, and we should be dealing with that when it's running freely. But when it stops and your heart is, you're frustrated, it's the voice of the devil. It's the voice of devil, doubt. It's the block. Well, I just don't know what to do. Well, shut the hell up. Listen. We go back to that thing. Speaking and listen. 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 Oh, okay. You got another answer. And you can solve the problem. You can solve the problem. Quite often we don't want to solve the problem. We just want to vent. Or we want to back out. You've heard me say things like, okay, you've got until X point to do so and so. If not, I'm done. There's no block in me that says that. What says that is you have consistently, I've said turn right, you have consistently turned left, consistently turn left, consistently turn left, won't deal with the reason why. I'm not frustrated. I'm just saying, no. There's no frustration. See, that's the part of us where we have to be honest about ourselves, about what we're doing inside. Because it counts to you and it counts in the whole. It doesn't count out here. What it looks like. Well, I want it to look this way. No. It has to be real. That's why feeling it, letting it move, cleaning you out, so ultimately it becomes real. Ultimately it becomes real. It's a real decision. What I'm saying is there will be actions. You look at the actions. You can't tell the difference by looking at the action. Only the person can tell inside what is meant. Well, I won't say only the person can tell inside what is meant, because there are many tells, but most often people aren't ready to look at the actions and see them for what they are and tell where the person is coming from. So, it's up to you to be honest with yourself. Wow, wait a minute, look at what I'm doing. Okay, what's the other way we got going here? What's the other possibility? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Okay. Let's hear it. Let's hear what you've got to say. Let's hear what you've got to say. Let's hear what you've got to say. Let me hear it, and let me not hold up what I think it ought to be. That doesn't mean that we can't do what I think it ought to be, but let me hear what you say and let me follow. Maybe part of that fits into it. Which is a broader picture. Okay. So we think differently. It's taken me a long time to teach my doctors to do that. Okay? It took me a long time to get them to understand, wait a minute, this guy knows something I don't know. Let me talk to you. You did this and you did that? You were a teacher? Yeah? Well, damn, I've known you for 20 years. I didn't know that. You never asked. You never listened. You were busy being Dr. So-and-so. No. Listen. You got to listen. You have to listen. Speaking and listening. Speaking and listening. When selfishness is in the middle, you never say and you never listen, because it becomes about you rather than the issue. We talk about rule and being ruled. When it's all about you, you can't rule. People don't want to hear your shit. People look at you and go, you think I'm a fool. No. Talk to me. There's an old song by Little Willie John. Talk to me. Anybody here remember Little Willie John? Okay. You talk to me. You rule because I allow you to. Because I allow you to. Otherwise, it's a tyrant. You give me the power. You give me the power. I don't take the power. So it's when you stand between the two sides. When I say when you stand between them, I mean your ego stands between them. Then we got a problem. When you stand between as a clean spirit whose vibration is clear, you can now decide. what is better. But it's because you're clear, and it's because the energy is running clean. The greatest pain makes you the clearest because it carries the greatest amount of energy to clean you. Okay? I think sometimes people look at me and think I've always been this way. No. If you had met me years ago, you've been looking right into the face of evil. I'd as soon kill you as look at you. It was very hard not to do that sometimes just because I wanted to see that look on your face. I wanted to see that look on your face. Let's see what would happen. I used to sit around and devise ways. I was trying to develop a punch that I could make a person's chest explode. I mean, you think about the mind that's wanting to do that, and to think, well, see if I can lift 400 pounds on the bench press, but when I hit that chest cavity and it snaps, well, the chest will cave in and pop back out like that, and the bones will break and the chest will explode. I'm telling you how I thought, okay? Well, I hit a guy. His chest didn't explode, but I didn't see him for about a year. And he told me, you know that last time you hit me in that tournament we were in? Oh, yeah. He said, you ruptured both the valves in my heart. I had to have open heart surgery, okay? And I was like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. Damn, yeah. Okay, inside, you know. So what I'm saying to you is that we start at a certain place. I'm saying that's hope. I'm saying I know what I'm talking about. What you do, I'm telling you what you do because I know what happened to me and how that change came about. All I'm asking you to do is for yourself. That's all I'm asking you to do, and I think you're here to see and understand that. I realize that this solves all problems if you allow. And it's about the allowance of feelings. Now, we can talk about the mechanics of it all day. We can talk about the transmutation of energy or the changing of lead to gold and all that bullshit. But it comes right down to just doing this. Letting your feelings move. Don't deny them. Don't try to feel good. Do the thing that allows the energy to flow, and you will feel good. You will feel better. Your mind will be more clear, even when it's not clear. It'll be clear enough. Your health will improve in ways. You will want to build things differently and make things happen in a different way. You will understand those who do not think the same as you because you have thought the way they think. Doesn't mean you do it. It means you understand it. Doesn't mean you argue with them. It means you understand it. If you understand something, you can get more out of it. If I understand how you think, I can get more out of you if I understand how you think. I can get more out of you. But if I'm going to stand up and argue with you, I'm not going to get anything out of you except an argument. So we're talking about how we do things better. How in the moment when you're dealing with people, you're going to get something better out of that. Why are you arguing with them? Why? What is the reason? Mostly it's an ego trip. So if it's an ego trip where you got to prove I'm smart. Do you ever see Star Trek where they came across this group of guys and they were stealing all this technology? He says, we have to steal it because you don't think we're smart. We're smart. It's like, alrighty. Well, what they ended up doing was tricking them because they weren't smart. Okay. If you understand the way people think and you treat them as equals, you'll get more out of them. You will get more out of them. Now, you can't always, some of you watch me deal with situations, you have to understand, I'm a teacher. I'm not trying to build a damn thing. I'm trying to say, here's what it is. It's like going to a mathematics class. Here's what it is. You do this, you do this, you do this, you get this. You do this, you do this, you get this. The law is that simple. For those who are here to find out what the truth is. But you go out here in the world and start dealing with the world in that fashion, they think they are your equal, no matter how stupid they are. We're smart. And we'll ignore you. The thing about, if you look at government, look at the way it's run. People do things to you simply because they can. Simply because they can. John Kennedy, who most people liked, people he didn't like, he put the IRS on them. Yeah, go down there and check Wayne out. Go down there and see what he's been doing down there. Now, this is at the highest level of government. Understanding the way people think. And I'm not saying that that should be done. I'm just giving that as an example of how he wasn't, I'm gonna, he just said, there you go. The difference in how we deal with people. How we deal with people. You're not going to get 100% because you're not dealing with people who want to give 100%. You have to be aware of what you see. You have to know your own blocks and where those blocks have been so that when you are through, you see them in others. You see it. And you understand. This is understanding. This is the understanding of, I'm not real comfortable with this word, but it's the understanding of God. Looking at what it is. Looking at what it is. It's not making certain kind of judgments. It sees what it is, and it knows that it is either pro-goal or against the goal. Okay, well, how do we get this to flow the other way? How do we do that? That's the issue. How do we get the whole thing to rise? That's the issue. Understanding. First, you have to understand. You must understand first. You must really understand. Not pretend to understand. Really understand how to do it. How are we going to make this happen? Sometimes you have to cut your losses. That's okay. But when the energy's up here, you see, it's okay. I cut my losses today, but on the other end, okay. Something better is coming, and I see it. Now, right back to the bottom line. Out of all this talk I've talked about, the thing is, feel your feelings. Don't judge your feelings. Feel it. Be honest. Sometimes you want to cry, and I can't cry. Yes, you can. Cry. Just let it roll. Do not act outwardly. We dissipate our energy. See, we're in a stage of learning. What do? All this energy is up in me and I got to go run 10 miles. Well, yeah, so now you have no energy and you're tired. No, it can never rise. What you do is put your attention on the spot, relax, and let the energy move. It's not to act outside. At this stage of the game, there's time to act. But let's understand what's happening first. Understand what's happening first. Understand what the message is carried in that energy. We can look at stars and planets light years away. We can tell what they're made of. We can tell how they behave. How do we do that? The message is in the light. The message is in the light, which is energy, if we know what we're looking for. So there's messages in the energy. Messages there that you never know are there unless you relax and let it happen. If you're still, after all this time, getting angry, you haven't done your work. I just got to tell you. You've lied to yourself. I just got to tell you, just straight. If you're still getting angry after all this time, that's just the truth. Now, that's not an indictment. Just telling you haven't done your work. If you're still getting frustrated after all this time, you haven't done your work. Just straight. That's all. No indictment. Not putting you down. If you were supposed to learn to swim 20 years ago, and you just kind of get in the pool and stand in the shallow end and splash around, all of a sudden you got to swim, and you drown. You drown because you didn't do your work. It's not an indictment. It's not, you didn't do your work. It's, and somebody comes along and says, well, let's give them CPR. I said, nah, they're just going to do the same thing they always did. Let them drown. All I'm saying to you is, you see what I just said about if this is happening, you didn't do your work? I'm just being honest. That's what each individual has to do with themselves. Just be honest. That's all. And then you don't have to call me on the phone and lie to me, because I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I don't care about your lie. About you trying to convince me you've done something you haven't done, I see you. No, I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just saying, okay? As the kids say, I'm just saying. Right. There comes a time when we have to deal with the truth. We have to deal with the honesty. The honesty is inside. The honesty is inside. I am not a person you can flatter. I know who I am. So you don't have to discuss me and tell me, oh, we're talking about you. Well, I'm going to say, well, why weren't you talking about you? Because I don't understand that stuff. I am what I am. Okay? I just am what I am. Understand by experiencing. Let the energy run. Experience it. Relax. Let it run. Even when it feels like you can't take it anymore, you can take it. Let it cleanse you. Come to understand the power within you. There's great power. You have tremendous power. You have the power to affect this whole thing if you so desire. Or you can just let the power be a part of the whole and affect the whole thing. It's just the way it is. But you never learn unless you experience. You only experience by letting it happen. Try not to say to yourself, it didn't do. What you have to say to yourself is, I didn't allow. Because that's the truth. I didn't allow. I've had people come and say, well, Ananda, the technique didn't work for me. You didn't allow it to work for you. Because it's up to you to recognize what you see. It just positions your head. So all I'm saying is, when I say those things, you're coming saying, Ananda, it didn't work for me. I'm saying to you, don't give yourself that excuse. Because I know better. So, why are you saying it to me? It's just about you. It's about you governing you. Using the laws to understand what's happening in you to become free. You govern you. If it didn't work for you, it's because you didn't allow it to. It doesn't do anything. You do. It positions you. You do everything else. Allow that energy to run. Don't judge it, because it'll bring you to a point of humility, and that point of humility is kind of like, oh. You start judging that, you start saying, I'm depressed. No. When you get to that point, you do the technique again, over and over and over again, till you get that energy running and you begin to understand. There is humility. Depression is a misunderstanding of humility. It just took everything out from under you. Now you're at a point where you don't know where you are, so you go start thinking negatively. No. You straighten that body up. You feel where you feel that. If it's all over, then you feel it all over. You relax and let it move. And then you begin to experience the energy at a more truthful level. Depression is not a truthful level. Humility is a truthful level. And then you're not so into trying to be the boss. When I say trying to be the boss, you got to show everybody and this and that and the other. No. You're more liable to cooperate, to look clearly at what the issue is and deal with it. Okay. Think about these things. Very simple. Very simple. Feel. Feel. Do the technique. Feel. What your mind says has nothing to do with anything. Feel. Feeling is in here, not in here. Feeling has nothing to do with words. Nothing. Remember these things. Do your work. Are there any questions? Okay, good. Thank you for your time.